As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more.
Guys, I want to talk about a story here that was a super hot take and from someone quite famous in the tech industry. And I want to get everyone's take on this, including people in the chat. I think I'm most curious what everyone in chat thinks of this, because I have a funny feeling I know where everyone in this room stands on this. But the quote here, or the take, was from Alexis Ohanian, who is the co-founder of Reddit. And the headline here is, Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian predicts play-to-earn crypto will be the only type of games people play in 5 years. Now, he says basically, play-to-earn crypto will be the only type of game most people play in 5 years. 90% of people will not play a game, this is a direct quote, unless they are being properly valued for that time. So in other words, unless you're getting compensation for playing a game, most people will not play those games anymore in only 5 years. His time frame is 5 years. And I just want to go around the room here, including chat, guys. I'm curious, do you agree with this or not? Will play-to-earn games be the only kind of game people will want to play 5 years from now? Is this, and do you think, he just raised, just for some context, he just raised a fund investing in blockchain-based games. We covered it on the Meta Business podcast, which everyone should go subscribe to. But so he's a little biased, right? Obviously, he wants to see play-to-earn and blockchain-based games win. But I'm really curious if you guys agree, if in 5 years these will be people won't play games unless they're being compensated for their time. Jeff, start with you.
No, I love the hot take. I'm going to go with no. However, I'm going to qualify by saying I think that he is generally right, but wrong in how extreme he's being. I think if he had said something like, I think 30% of all gameplay time will be blockchain games or pay to earn games, I think I could get behind that number, meaning like, let me take a step back and kind of meaning right now, if you think about, we have 3 platforms. I know this isn't the perfect analogy, right? You have mobile, console, and PC, and roughly the amount of gamers on each one is about 33%, or sorry, it's about half on mobile, 25% on console, 25% on PC. If you told me that at some point it's going to be 25% of gamers will be playing play to earn, and I know play to earn's not a platform, so it's not a perfect analogy, but if you told me it was going to make up a large portion of the player base, I'm like, I totally buy that. I'm all in on that premise. To say 90%, I think that's a bit crazy, especially within 5 years. I mean, we know 5 years from now, people will still be playing WoW. So, unless WoW goes play to earn, and I say that to dig at Paul, but I no is the answer. I just think it's a little extreme, but I think he's right in how bullish he is on blockchain gaming.
So hold on, can I just push back a little bit, Jeff? If his time frame was 10 years or 15 years, do you believe we get to his 90% number? Is it just a question of time in your mind, or do you disagree with the premise completely?
I think the answer is yes, because I think in the balance of time, we will come up with blockchain games and pay to earn. I like using the term pay and earn. I heard this on another podcast where basically it's not play to earn, it's pay and earn, meaning you're playing and you can be earning. You're not doing it you're not only there to earn, and you're not automatically going to make money, but it's just part of the ecosystem. I think eventually we'll get blockchain and play and earn games that are interesting and exciting enough where people will look at it and be like, why would I ever play a game that I don't earn money? Because they're both just as fun, right? Like every game, there will be an equivalent play and earn game to every non-play and earn game. So it'd be like, why would I play Madden where I don't earn money if I could play an earn version of Madden, which is just as fun, and I can make some money while I'm doing it over time. Sorry, that was really long-winded.
Jimmy or Lindsay, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this 90%. And chat, you guys, like, please chime in. I really want to know if you guys think play to earn will be 90% of the market in 5 years. That is what he's saying, that people, only 10%, but 90% of people will only play games if they're being compensated directly for their time. Jimmy?
Maybe a high percentage of Gen Alpha and Gen Z, but certainly not millennials and older. I think we have titles like Madden that Jeff mentioned and others that we know and love. So 90% seems way too high. Maybe in 50 years, then I'd probably give that a more realistic time frame. 5 years, way too aggressive, and 90% way too high. So I would limit it again to the age demographic of the younger gamers predominantly playing play to earn. Sure, I could see that.
Lindsay?
I think it depends on the market, but I think in developing countries, this is absolutely true, especially from what we've seen with the Venezuela and RuneScape. It's like the perfect case study for that. So I definitely think in lower income countries, this is probably absolutely accurate.
Inub says 90 seems very high. I mean, Lindsay, I was going to come out swinging with a very strong opinion on this. Your thought that it is more of a developing country product, maybe you could convince me. Like, I could be convinced that it has higher penetration in a lower income kind of market. I just think Alexis Ohanian is totally out to lunch here. Like, actually completely out to lunch. If I was an LP in his new blockchain-based fund, I'd be asking for my money back. Like, it shows a radical lack of understanding of the gaming market, of the gaming audience. I mean, I'd love to have him on the podcast because I'd love to ask him where he's getting this prophecy from. We're clearly not talking to the same oracle. But he's just going to be phenomenally wrong. He couldn't be any more wrong about this prediction. 5 years is completely wrong. And even if you told me the time frame was 100 years, I still think he would be completely wrong. Because I think the one thing, like, he's fundamentally saying that human beings are going to turn everything that we do for fun, everything that we do for play becomes work, essentially. And that we feel like no human being has gone out to throw a baseball or play basketball with friends and been like, man, I should have been making money while I was playing basketball with my friends, right? Like, no one comes in frustrated that they're not compensated for that time. And so, like, maybe Alexis is not from this planet, but I don't think most human beings think that way.
The caveat, I guess, Paul, what if I could push back a little bit? Because I think your premise is correct, but I think Greg makes a good point about it being too soon. And then he says, we still don't have great play to earn games. And I think that's the key. So the question is, how quickly do you think that last part becomes not true? Or how quickly do we get great play to earn games? Because I'll say this to you, Paul. You are right. Nobody goes out in the backyard and throws a baseball, with their dad and then comes in and says, well, I wish I got paid. But I guarantee you, if someone said, if you go in your front yard and throw a baseball with your dad, I'll give you $50. If you go in your backyard and throw a baseball with your dad, you get nothing. You would be like, well, why on earth wouldn't we go in the front yard and throw the baseball? That's crazy. I think that is kind of that's where he's coming from, or at least that's my pushback. And how long does it take to get to that parity? I don't know.
It's so let me just bring Greg's comment on screen. He says it's way too soon. We still have great play to earn games. Jeff, your point's such a good one. And to me, this is the crux of why I know Alexis Ohanian doesn't understand the gaming market. Because play to earn, fundamentally, the free money doesn't get created. Okay, like, this is not how these games work. There's no just like people who develop play to earn games. They haven't discovered money trees and they make these money trees available to people who play their game, right? They're fundamentally, for lack of a better term, glorified pyramid schemes where a small number of players make a lot of money and for the most part are funded by people who put money into the game or pay for tokens or things like that, right? And while that's good for the few who make money, it's not a free lunch, and it drives the kinds of games that they are, right? It has an effect on the kind of game that is created to be a play to earn game, because it has to have mechanisms to support what is fundamentally a pyramid scheme. And so my thesis today, and this may change, but today, is I don't think we will ever see great play to earn games, and most definitely not in the next 5 years, because the format dictates the kinds of games that we get. And this is why I don't think I think it's easy to say, well, we don't have great play to earn games, so once we have great ones, everyone will be doing this. I don't think we will ever have great play to earn games, or at least there may be some better than others, but I don't think you're ever going to get, Call of Duty level kind of great play to earn games. Not in the next 5 years, probably not in the next 10 years. Maybe at some point when the ecosystem changes dramatically, maybe in that metaverse sort of universe where we're, talking about gaming in a much different way. But to say it in 5 years and to think that play to earn has no impact on the gaming experience, I think he's wrong. But it's a good point. I think that is the best, strongest counter argument that, if you did make a great play to earn game, why would people play a game where you don't earn?
So, and I guess I'll give one more, because I think your point about, kind of the Ponzi scheme piece and everyone can't make money, I think is inherently, like, literally has to be true. If you just think about it from a mathematical and business standpoint, not everyone can make money. Just everyone can't be putting, taking money out of the ecosystem and nobody putting it in. Having said that, I think you could see a world where every game moves to some sort of paid play to earn model, but not everyone earns. Does that make sense? Where the expectation is not, hey, I'm going to go make money. It's that my items will have value. So maybe I go in and I buy $10 worth of stuff, and when I leave at the end of the day, I sell $3 worth. I sell it for $3. Like, I didn't make money, but there, it has that element and that, kind of decentralized, and you could sell your stuff. Like, maybe that's a more sustainable ecosystem.
You again, such a good point. And I think it brings up an interesting conversation in that I played the greatest play to earn game ever made. And you know what it was? It was CSGO. Because I played and I got cases, and I opened those cases and I got items, and those items sometimes were worth money, and I could sell them on Steam for a lot of money and make money by playing CSGO. And I have some very valuable items in CSGO. The difference is, I think, and it's a subtle difference, is I think it's maybe a semantics thing. When we say a play to earn game, we really mean a game that was designed for earning, right? That you go in to play to earn, not a game where you play like CSGO where you may earn, right? And it's not the point, and it's not the goal, and it's not it's a subtle difference. And Phoenix here, let me just read his comment, because I think I'll say agrees here, but Diablo 3 had the Heraldric hamburger, and during the vanilla days, you could sell that via the auction house for a considerable amount of money, about $200. They sold constantly to the whales of the game. I mean, I think, Phoenix, the question I would have for you is, I'm sure there were some people who played to farm that item, right? So they could go sell it. But I think the vast majority probably earned items in the game that they sold because they were playing the game for fun, not because they were playing to earn. And maybe that's an important distinction. Maybe it's not. Einub says, I like playing games to unwind and relax. I can see having some mix of play to earn, but I cannot imagine myself only playing play to earn. Einub's, I agree with you. And I think most gamers probably feel that way. I think so.